In November 1987, a quiet trailer home in rural Illinois became the scene of one of the most disturbing crimes investigators had ever encountered. Keith and Elaine Dardeen were a young couple expecting their second child. They lived a quiet life in the small town of Ina, Illinois, but when Keith failed to show up for work, police went to check on the family. What they discovered inside that trailer would shock even seasoned detectives. Keith Dardeen worked as a treatment operator at a water plant. His wife Elaine stayed home caring for their toddler son, Peter. Friends described them as kind, private people who kept mostly to themselves. They had recently talked about moving closer to family, hoping for a safer place to raise their children. But on November 18, 1987, Keith never arrived at work. Concerned co-workers asked police to check on him. When officers reached the Dardeen trailer, the front door was locked. Inside, they made a horrifying discovery. Inside the trailer, police found Elaine Dardeen and her young son, Peter, murdered. The crime scene was so brutal that investigators later described it as one of the worst they had ever witnessed. Elaine had been pregnant with the couple's second child. Detectives quickly realized the killer had used a baseball bat found inside the home. But something was missing. Keith Dardeen was nowhere in the trailer. At first, investigators wondered if Keith might somehow be involved. But the next day, the case took an even darker turn. The following day, police located Keith's car abandoned in a field several miles away. Inside the vehicle was Keith Dardeen. He had been murdered as well. Investigators now believed the entire family had been targeted by someone who either knew them or someone capable of an unimaginable act of violence. Over the years, police explored multiple theories, including a possible connection to a known serial killer active in the region at the time. But no suspect was ever charged. More than 3 decades later, the Dardeen family murders remain one of Illinois' most haunting, unsolved cases. Some crimes leave behind clues, others leave only questions. Who killed the Dardeen family? Why were they targeted? And how did someone commit such a horrific crime without ever being identified? More than 30 years later, the answers remain buried in one of America's darkest unsolved mysteries. Like and subscribe for more stories like these.